Hello world, Prince here, and welcome to my channel, Gentlemen and Scholars, where we discuss literature, style, personal development, and so much more. Alright, so for today's topic, I wanted to take some time to compare and contrast some of the success principles that both Robert Greene and Dale Carnegie have, and I've used personally in my life to achieve the things that I've achieved and to build strong relationships and strengthen my interpersonal communication skills. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Both of these authors had different approaches when it came to achieving your desires. However, after implementing these skills and these techniques, you'll see how they work and how they are successful in your life, and it will give you further motivation to continue to take action. So a lot of Dale Carnegie's principles are based upon the idea that people are generally good at heart. People just want to be seen, they want to be acknowledged, they want to feel important. And a lot of his ideas are based around this concept. One principle that has been impactful for me is giving sincere and specific appreciation when complimenting. So instead of saying, hey, you know what, I like that, you should detail the reasons why you like what you like, and it just gives an overall bigger impact and definitely makes it much more memorable. Another principle that will be hugely impactful for you is becoming genuinely interested in other people and asking them questions that they'll enjoy answering. So let's say you're in a job interview. It comes to the end of the interview and the interviewer asks, hey, do you have any questions for me? This is a perfect opportunity to build rapport with the interviewer and definitely make yourself more memorable to them by asking questions, sincere questions that they'll enjoy answering. So definitely take note of that and definitely utilize that in the future. This can be used on dates as well. Let's say you're not doing too much of the talking and your lady is doing a lot of the talking. That's a good sign that things are going well. So definitely make use of this and make sure you're asking good questions, good sincere questions that build rapport and show that you're interested in the person for who they are, not because you're trying to get something out of the situation. Another concept that has proven to be crucial for me is to always begin with what you appreciate before you provide a critique. To take this a step further, I tend to put myself in the other person's shoes and say something like, hey, you know, I may have done the same thing had I been in your shoes. To sort of give the feeling that, you know, hey, it's okay, it's not a big deal, and open the person up to actually receiving the critique as opposed to taking on a defensive posture. Robert Greene's teachings, however, tend to take on a more defensive approach. They're based upon the premise that, you know, you should really be wary of people's intentions, especially when it comes to close friends. These principles are definitely still effective nonetheless. Probably the most important principle to consider is to never outshine the master. And Robert Greene actually describes this as one of the most violated principles because it's one of the principles that you could be doing without actually knowing that you're doing it. This law gives you the ability to understand how you're impacting people and thus be able to make adjustments based on the wisdom that you see in this book. Another extremely effective principle is to make yourself indispensable. And this can be really effective in the workplace, maybe taking on additional responsibilities to the point where, you know, you're really an asset to your company, to your organization. So if they're ever looking to get rid of somebody, you're not the person that they're looking at. You can also relate this to different projects. Maybe you have a skill or you fulfill a need that no one else is able to fulfill. That makes you indispensable and makes you somebody that the people around you need. So that's definitely something that is extremely valuable. He also discusses why sometimes it's important to mask your intentions, as sometimes you may have secretly jealous or envious people that you're dealing with. These types of people may actually work overtime to make sure that you do not achieve your goals. So it's definitely important to be aware of this, be keen on this, and make adjustments when necessary. So when reading these books, you may begin to notice that some of these principles that Dale Carnegie and Robert Greene talk about are diametrically opposed to one another. For instance, Robert Greene suggests that you let others work while you take the credit for the work, while Dale Carnegie suggests that you let others believe that the idea was theirs and allow them to take the credit for it. Dale Carnegie suggests that you should appeal to an individual's nobler motives, while Robert Greene suggests that you should appeal to an individual's selfishness and greed to win them to your side of thinking. Definitely two different perspectives. I think the technique that you use is largely going to be circumstantial. It's going to be based upon your character and your reputation. So with that, let's go ahead and wrap this one up. If you have any questions for me, definitely feel free to give a shout. Definitely subscribe and hit that notification bell. And I'll leave links to the books discussed in this video. Until next time, gentlemen and scholars.